much, Megha. And again, Megha will be joining us in the panel discussion after this next presentation, which comes from William Tanuwijaya, and he's Technical Liaison at OPC Hub ASEAN. And his presentation, as you can see there, is all about OPC Foundation Cloud Initiative, the new cloud reference architecture. William, all yours. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. William here from the OPC Hub ASEAN. So today I will be talking about the OPC Foundation Cloud Initiative and especially the new cloud reference architecture. But to begin with, I would like to start with a little bit of introduction about the OPC Foundation, who we are, what we do, what we've done before, to sort of give you a background why we arrived at this new cloud reference architecture. So the OPC Foundation, we are an international organization. We have around 1,000 members worldwide. We have a vision to provide secure and reliable vendor, platform, and domain-agnostic interoperability among the factory networks participants, from the smallest sensors to the enterprise systems and beyond. So we deliver this with the OPC UA specification, which is also an IC standard. And the specifications for the OPC UA is openly available, freely downloadable from our website. You can go to the opcfoundation.org, register as a member, and then you can download the specifications right there. And besides that, the OPC Foundation also provides some tools and code examples for you to faster and easily adopt the OPC UA. Right, so a couple of numbers from the OPC Foundation. We have 1,000 members worldwide. As I said before, 60% are from Europe, 20% from the Americas, and 20% from the Asia-Pacific region. We are active in 4 regions worldwide: the North America, Europe, China, and Japan. And in some other countries, we have some hubs. In Singapore, the hub is hosted by Backoff Automation. Under the foundation umbrella, we have 150 plus working groups, which generates 427 plus models, free of charge, by the way. You can download this from the OPC Foundation Cloud Library. And we also come up with 350 plus specifications. Right, OPC UA is IEC 62541 standard, and it's also a standard here in Singapore. It's a national standard, Singapore standard. All right, so a little bit about OPC UA. We noticed in the late 2000s and the early 2010s, manufacturers are moving away from the traditional automation pyramid into the information network. The traditional automation pyramid is on the left, and the information network, more convoluted information network, is on the right. Why do they do this? Because people want to collect data, right, from their manufacturing operations. Now is the year 2025, so which one do you think really happens in the field today? So who says that the traditional automation pyramid is still prevalent? Can I have a show of hands? Yeah? And who says it's the information network that is more prevalent today? Not sure. Okay. Well, actually, I've seen both in my travel across the regions. So there are some manufacturers who are more financially stronger, right? So they want to maintain their automation pyramids. They can do that. But for some other, the automation pyramid is more rigid. So information is supposed to flow from one layer to the next layer. You can't skip a layer, otherwise it's no longer a pyramid. But for some other manufacturers, they have to go to the information network. So how does the information network looks like in practice? So I can share with you one story. So in one of my visits to a customer in Indonesia, I was walking around in the factory floor, and I saw a machine, right? And in front of the machine, there's an operator. So the operator is looking at the industrial screen in front of him to sort of operate the machine. So nothing special. But as I walked closer, I saw a secondary screen on his right. This screen is smaller than his primary screen, and they are housed in 2 completely different industrial cabinets. Looks like the primary screen is, the industrial cabinet is more sturdy with beige color. The smaller screen on his right looks silver in color. It's not so sturdy. It looks like it's hastily put together by a workshop next door. So it got me curious. I asked the engineers, why is your operator needing two screens? Why does he need two screens? He said, the bigger screen, that's the machine control system. That's how he operates the machine. Okay, that's normal. The smaller ones are the MES. What's the MES doing there? So we said, well, we want to collect data, from the machine. What sort of data? Production data, how many we produce each day. And if, let's say, there's a shutdown in the machine, the operator is supposed to click and select what the reason for the shutdown. Okay, so does the MES takes the data from the machine control system? I asked him. He said, no, not really. Oh, but why? Well, we don't want to touch a running system. So this is the mantra of all engineers in the factory. So he said, okay, then how do you get the data instead? Well, we plug in a sensor at the end of the production line to count how many bottles or how many products we produce each day. And that sensor talks to the MES. Well, let me see here. So you have a sensor in the machine that the machine control system has no idea about, talks directly to the MES. You skip a layer, right? So that is the information network, one of the form of the information network. What I'm trying to say is this: either way, whether you want to keep your traditional pyramids or you want to go to the information network on the right, OPC UA is there for you. Right? So we can transfer the data, we can create this network of information to take the data from one layer to the next, or if you want to create that data highway on the right, where each individual participants can send and receive data, you can also do that with the OPC UA. All right, so a couple of things. This is OPC UA in a simplified view. Arguably, what makes OPC UA special is the capability of modeling, data modeling, which you see on the left. So it is object-oriented. You can create multiple instances of a machine or a system, right? And the transport, we are agnostic, right? So initially, we started with a client server, communication. That was during the interoperability in the OT world, and but around about 10 to 15 years ago, there was this rush of people going into to break the silo. They want to collect information from different sites. So we added the publish and subscriber. In terms of protocol, we are also agnostic. We started with TCP, but with the PubSub, we also added MQTT. And this is still developing because we heard that the foundation is considering to add Kafka in the next specification. All right, so OPC UA has started in 2003, actually, so it's not really new, right? So we started in 2003. 2006 is the first release of the specification. And right now we are at version 1.05, which was released 2 years ago. Right? So we have around 19 years of stability and backward compatibility in the standard. So OPC UA, we are active in these three segments right here. So you can see the first one is the interoperability in OT world. We want to talk about machine-to-machine communication, exchanging data among the participants in the factory. That is already delivered with the OPC UA. That is our first target. The second one is right there. As I said, a lot of manufacturers wants to break the silo, wants to collect information from many different factories. Right? So we deliver this with the OPC UA over MQTT by PubSub communication. And now most of the discussion is on the top right there, so interoperability for IT. Why do people need this? Because we want to have supply chain visibility, right? So for things like carbon emission calculation, so if a manufacturer is manufacturing complex product like car, motorcycle, TV, whatever it is, they may have different suppliers supplying different components, and these components each has the individual CO2 emission. And this CO2 emission will be variable, because some of the manufacturers, some of your suppliers may have installed PV cells. So if he produced these components during the sunny day, then his CO2 emission will go down, and if it is cloudy day, then CO2 emission will climb up. Right, so that is very important. Yeah? We want to grab all this CO2 emission into one place, and you can have quite accurate CO2 calculation for your product. And also it can be used for other things like halal certification and all that. Right, so that is one of the reasons why the OPC Foundation finally started the cloud initiative. Right, so we want to accelerate the interoperability among the IT participants, and this is the cloud initiative. Yeah, these are the area that we are active in. And it's broken down into different working groups that you see on the right. Yeah, and these working groups are not exclusive. You can join them if you want to have a voice, if you want to have a say in one of the topics over here. All you need to do is just join us in the OPC Foundation, register as a member, and request to get referred into one of the working groups of your interest. All right, some of the major goals of the cloud initiative. Maybe I'll just talk about one. Yeah? So this is what we are showing here today. We want to create a cloud reference architecture to provide sort of the best practice, increase data standardization in the data sharing, in line with global regulations such as the Cyber Resilience Act in Europe. It looks like this. This is the cloud reference architecture. So let's see this a little bit. Everything that you see on the left of this red line is happening in the factory floor. In between the two red lines, this is your enterprise cloud system. So let's start from this box right here. That's number one. That's your machine. You produce data. So it can go three ways. If you have an older machine, it has the proprietary protocol. So you will need industrial connectivity software to so-called translate that proprietary protocol into OPC UA client server, right? Or if you have a newer machine, you can just directly connect the OPC UA client server into the gateway. Or if you have the latest and the greatest machine, it typically comes with the PubSub, so you can go directly bypass the gateway and go straight into the broker, the cloud broker. All right, so if you have the PubSub, the machine with the PubSub communication, you may want to have an edge broker right here, denoted with number 3. Why? Because this broker will then do data exchange between the machines in the factory. All right, so beside that, you typically have on-premise MES that will typically talk to your machine via the OPC UA client server. All right, so on the other side, you have your cloud broker here. This is your primary gateway data in, all right, which will then transfer the data into the time series database. That's where you store all your production database, production information. From there, you may have a dashboard to show the business intelligence, the data, what is happening in your factories and all that. You may have AI-assisted analytics as well in the cloud. And if you have the analytics, it makes sense to have this cloud-to-edge messaging app. So if analytics catch something happening from the data, then it can immediately communicate that information back to the broker and on to the gateway and to the machine operators. All right, so on top, typically you have also the cloud MES, which talks to the on-premise MES, and the ERP database on the top. Right, so the ERP database here, as you see, there's an arrow to the left. Those are communications to your supplier across the supply chain. So you want to take the product information from your supplier. So you can take it directly with that gray line over there, or you can use the data connector consumer, right, which corresponds to this guy over here, data connector provider. So the data connector is a governance layer for you to create a digital contract, so you know what kind of data you can transmit and what can the other counterpart do with the data. All right, so you have product database as well to store information about the product that you produce. And if the product or the machines or whatever that you produce is sending telemetry data, then you want to store it in here, the connected product time series database. Right, that will form an asset admin shell library, which will then connect into your customer ERP database. Right, so in this way, you can achieve all this data exchange among the supply chain, the participant in the supply chain. All right, so you may think right now, wow, that's plenty of boxes. Where do I start? Looks so expensive. Well, good news is that the OPC Foundation has also prepared the open source project for you. So if you want to get started today and you want to try out certain things, you can, take some of this. Yeah. All right, so whatever I talk about today, actually you can find every information in this OPC Foundation Cloud Initiative brochure. So please scan this QR code right here. Please take the digital brochure. Yeah, you can find everything, what I said. Don't take the printed brochure because the digital brochure, first of all, we can go green. And the digital brochure also have the web links, or live web links to the various products that is ready on the market. What kind of products? Those cloud reference architecture, those boxes are already applied by some of the major cloud providers. We are looking at the AWS, Google Cloud, Huawei, Microsoft, SAP. So they have the corresponding modules, software modules, ready to be used. So if you like it, you can go into their website and start to talk to them. Or if you need the open source project, in the brochure you can find all of this link towards the open source project. And also in the brochure you can find the offerings from the major OT companies. Those are additional information for you. Now, last but not least, about the data space. This is powered by OPC UA. We are talking about data sovereignty here. So the data space is adding the governance layer to define who can access your data, for how long, and under what conditions. So this is needed as you talk among the supply chain, among your supply chain manufacturers. All right, that's all from me today. One more time, please scan this QR code and get the brochure. Thank you very much for your attention.